just a reminder of where we've been so that you can see where we are just now. Last week we started the Gospel of Matthew, last week Monday. We looked at the Beatitudes. And the Beatitudes are the, I've forgotten the word now, my mind's just gone blank, mindset, if you wish, for a Christian. I forget the exact phrase. But anyway, and then Jesus goes on to give us the ways, the habits, the virtues, the ways that we as Christians should act. And so he spoke first of all about anger. So you've heard how it is said, you shall not kill, but I say don't be angry. So we spoke about how to forgive. As Christians, that's one of our behaviors, people who forgive. Then he spoke about you shall not commit adultery, and then he spoke about how he who looks lustfully has already committed adultery. So the idea of custody of the eyes, to be careful to avoid the occasion of sin, so that Christians are people, men and women of purity. And then he spoke about what comes out of our lips. We're not to swear, to lie. We're to be people of the truth, because Jesus is the truth. And now today, in today's gospel, Jesus speaks about this eye for eye, tooth for tooth. And it's connected with our that first lesson about anger. Because you will know quite well, and I think there are very few people, if any, who really doesn't know about this, when we get angry, we desire revenge. You hurt me, so I will hurt you back. And that hurt, that offense, might not be, it could be a word, it could be something that's done, it could be your clothes offend me, the way you dress offends me, the way you do your makeup, your hair, there is something about you that just offends me. And when we are offended, we desire to strike back. We hit back at the other people. We stab them either in the back or in the front when they see it or when they don't see it, but it's revenge we're getting on them. And so we have this eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Now the thing with the revenge is, the text basically is about mitigating, not going overboard. So if somebody pokes you in the eye, you poke them back in the eye. So you don't go over the top. The reality is, and actually we'll see this, the reality is we tend not to live an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. When somebody offends us, we strike back, and we continue to strike back over and over again. And there's this famous character in the book of Genesis called Lamech. And Lamech was the great-great-grandson of Cain. And Lamech boasted, he said to his wives, I haven't got my glasses on, he said, Lamech to his wives, listen to what I say. I killed a man for wounding me, a boy for striking me. 7-fold vengeance is taken for Cain, but 77-fold for Lamech. Cain, the Lord said that if anybody struck Cain, there'll be 7-fold vengeance to protect Cain. And Lamech says, well, no, 77-fold. You do the slightest thing to me and I will kill you. Do a small thing and I will strike you back 77 times fold. And that's actually, with a lot of us, that's what we end up doing, because we get back over and over again to people. And this text, eye for an eye, tooth to tooth, tooth for tooth, was meant to limit that. But Jesus is saying we're not even to go and strike back. As Christians, that is not how we're to behave. And so if somebody strikes you on the right cheek, turn your left cheek, don't punch them back. If somebody takes your cloak, give them your jacket as well. And so the important thing here that Jesus is saying is we don't strike back. Again, it goes back to the anger thing. And the key is forgiving. Forgive. When we have that desire, when we find ourselves thinking about revenge, And you know we do this in the middle of the night when we're trying to get to sleep, and we think about what I'll do and what I'll say and what they'll do and what they'll say, and then I'll do this, and we play out all these possibilities in our minds, and it's all going back to revenge, how we'll get back at them. When we start doing that, then we know we have to go back and forgive again. And we have to continue to forgive again and again and again, each time these things come back. Now, with this, it's important to realize that Jesus isn't telling us in these texts that we are to be doormats. And I think a lot of us as Christians think that that's what we should be. You know, Jesus saying, if they strike you in one cheek, give them the left. If they do something to you, allow them to do it. You know, if somebody's bad to you, don't fight back. Let them be bad for you. It's okay, because that's the teaching of Jesus. But actually, that is not the teaching of Jesus. He doesn't say that. He's talking about retaliation, vengeance for wrong done. But he is not saying if somebody treats you bad, do nothing about it. He's not saying that. If you see a person do evil, he is not saying allow them to continue doing evil. No. In fact, in Matthew's Gospel, later on in these texts, chapter 18, verse 15, this is what Jesus tells us about that very thing. Important that we remember this, because you're not to be a doormat. And I have not got my glasses still, so I'm going to try to read this. Excuse me a second, I'm going to run and get my glasses. There we go. Thanks for waiting. Right. Now I can see. So this is what Matthew says. This is Jesus in Matthew 18. He says, if your brother does something wrong, go and have it out with him, alone, between your two selves. So he's not saying, if your brother does something wrong, let him, say nothing, do nothing. He's not saying that. He's saying, if you see him do it, go and have it out with him. Speak to him about it, just the two of you. You know, that's the first step. A quiet chat away from everyone else and say, listen, that wasn't very nice. That wasn't well done. That hurt. Oh, that really did a lot of damage. We're not to be doormats, walkovers, but we're not to strike back. Talk. Have a word. Forgive. This is what we as Christians should be doing with any of these situations.